Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Delafield Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, January 10th. If you'd all rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Dan, if you do a roll call, please.
Supervisors Miller,
Present.
Kranek,
Present.
Wolfley,
Present.
Michaels,
Present.
Chairman Troy.
Present.
Thank you.
Citizen comments, public comments from citizens regarding items on or not on the agenda. The board may not engage in a discussion with the citizen making the comment. Individual presentations are limited to 3 minutes, and citizens shall follow the rules set forth in section 2.04 sub 1 sub D of the town code. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on any topic at all? Seeing none, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes of the December 13th town board meeting.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion to approve as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Action on vouchers submitted for payment. There are no sub-accounts or actions to amend it, either the 2022 or 2023 budget, so we'll move to accounts payable and payroll.
Motion for accounts payable to approve payments of checks number 66256 and 66260 through 66322 in the amount of $205,788.81. And a motion for payrolls to approve the payrolls dated December 23rd, 2022 in the amount of $16,217.99. And payrolls dated January 6th, 2023 in the amount of $19,567.12.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the payroll and accounts payable as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. There are no communications.
Actually, I'd like to make a communication for a second, if I could. On everybody's desk, there's the agenda for the upcoming Wisconsin Towns Association Waukesha County Unit Meeting on Wednesday, January 25th. I know it says 22, but that was a typo. Just look at the agenda. Looks interesting. If you can make it, please try to make it, and Dan can put a quorum notice out. And then also, there's the agenda for the upcoming district meetings put on through the Towns Association. And I accidentally printed the 22 schedule because I picked the wrong calendar. It's actually the upcoming, it's Friday, February 3rd at Juneau, and Saturday, February 4th in Whitewater. And I will follow up with an email to Dan that he can forward to everybody with information also. And then I also would like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Richard Lartz, the village president of the village of Neshota. He was one of the forefathers and the force behind one of the topics that we're going to be discussing this evening. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and everybody in the community that he touched.
Okay. Now we'll move to unfinished business, which I believe there are none. New business, discussion and possible action on the renewal of insurance for the 2023 property, vehicle, and liability coverages. Mr. R&R Insurance.
Thank you.
I think these are all in your packets as well, but I have nothing better to do. Thank you. Well, obviously, your renewal's coming up here on 1/29. We have all of our insurance currently with a company called Community Insurance Corporation, and have had with them for probably 15 years now. The first page really is just kind of a summary of the premiums, the changes in premiums from last year, and I'll kind of walk through that first, and we can, I'll share with you, why the premiums are up or why they're down. So the first piece is the property premium. Last year we paid $9,793. This year it's up to $10,346. or roughly a 6% rating or cost increase. But our values of our buildings, we increased those by 7.9%. So really, the rate is down 1.9%. And during a tough property market, I was ecstatic to see that. So all of our property renewals are going up as opposed to going down. So equipment breakdown's up $158. That's tied to our building values as well, right? It's based on our total value of $7,192,000 or something like that. So that value's up, so the cost is up. Auto physical damage, that's based on our total value of our vehicles. And last year we were at 1.5 million in values, and this year we're at 1.2. So the values are down, so our cost went down 11%, which was good to see. Liability is up 7%, and that's really just based on just our last, 2020 and 2021, where we had two significant losses. So one was a cyber claim for roughly $79,000, and, they're still holding that against us, and, I don't know about rightfully so, but it's still on our loss record, so. So that was an additional $1,300 in premium. Injunctive relief, that's really tied to our liability premium, but so that's up 7% as well. Workers' compensation, good news on that. The rates went down across the board for the state of Wisconsin by 4.8%, but at one of our main class codes is down 8%. So that's good news. Premium is really only 1% up. And that's really due to our values, or our payroll. Our payroll, I think, is up 9.8%, or roughly $53,000. So any questions on the cost of the insurance, the increases and the decreases that I just shared with you? Make sense? Okay.
Nope.
So if you want, you can jump to the next page. There's, we've got an option for a higher deductible on the property. Right now we're sitting at a $2,500 deductible. We can jump to a $5,000 deductible. I don't know that it's worth saving $586, so it really is a payback of about 4.2 years, right? If you don't have a claim, we pay for it. I'll leave that up to you. So that includes your contractor's equipment breakdown. Your total property is $10,346 with the $2,500 deductible.
And we only save $500?
Each year, $586, Ron, to jump to the $5,000. Like I said, it's 4.2 years, right?
Yeah, it's a
Without
long
having a
time.
claim that you get paid back.
And we did have a claim in 2021
Yeah, I don't
with the
think it's
fence.
worth it.
so-
Yeah. So if you jump to page 4, that's just showing our auto limits, our values of our autos. $1,228,000. We've got a $5,000 deductible on that. We didn't look at any higher deductibles on that, but there hasn't been a savings in the past to look at higher deductibles on the auto, so.
And how will we handle the new trucks that Donnie's supposed to get sometime this year?
We'll add them to the policy when they come, but they'll be covered under this. And then next year, we'll see those increases on the next renewal.
Yeah.
So we don't get increased incrementally.
Right, that's the beauty of community insurance, I believe.
Say again?
That's the beauty of community insurance.
Yeah, but if we took off a bunch during the year, right, we're
It's
still
the-
paying
goes
for
the other
them,
way,
right?
yeah.
So, but if we add them during the middle of the year, they're automatically included, and there's no cost, no charge
That's
to
great.
it. So, it's just trying to save everybody some administrative work, really, And also, the piece to it is anything that we have, right, is covered. So you don't ever have to worry about, oh, geez, you didn't tell us, but now you had a claim on it, so. The next page, it's really just kind of a highlight of some of the property coverages that we have with Community Insurance Corporation. You've seen probably most of those before. We've got an extra $1 million for all of our electronic data processing equipment, so anything that plugs into a wall, right? We've got coverage. I know we don't need $1 million, but that's what comes with the policy. Extra expense of 5 million, right? So if we had a loss at this location, quickly getting, your staff back up and running at another location is going to cost some money, so that's what that could be used for. We have flood and quake, $10 million for earthquake and 5 million for flood. Nice to have some of that. I'm not really worried about earthquake and maybe not even a flood at this location, but there is coverage for it. Anything on there that you have questions on, let me know.
I drilled you reasonably well last year, and I didn't see any major changes. They didn't add or subtract any coverage limits from the prior year policy, right?
Yeah, same coverage as last year, yep.
Yeah, okay.
The next page is our general liability. We have $5 million of limits. We have injunctive relief as well as part of our coverage. In the past, we haven't taken auto medical pay. Due to the state statute, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do it. That's like if Mike Walden gets in one of your trucks with you and we're in an accident and, I need to go in to see a doctor. Well, I have workers' compensation with my care or with my company, right? So do I really need auto med pay? If you guys were at fault and I chose to sue you, well, they'd still pay it, right? But we would have to be sued versus just paying out $1,000 without having to be sued. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend the extra $150 on it. So as part of our liability policy, right, we also have that cyber policy. And, obviously that's come in handy for us 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. The first party is really covering us, right? Our costs associated with the cyber claim. And the third party is really somebody trying to sue us because that information was breached and now they want to sue us because, that confidential information is now in somebody else's hands. So it's really coverage for first and third party as well as ransomware. And then also as part of the GL, we've got, coverage for our auto, coverage for public officials, for you guys, police and fire, and then also employment practices liability. So. Any questions?
I think it's great.
And the rest is just more marketing material. If you jump to page 9, that really is the workers' compensation. So the work comp, Dan had given us some increases in payrolls. Total increase in payroll is $55,000, or roughly 10%. The clerical rate went from 19 cents down to 17 cents, and then the municipal operations went from $3.83 to $3.42. So that was a 10% decrease. So, even though our payrolls are up, the cost, just went up slightly. So the mod had stayed the same. We had a 0.84 mod last year, and we've got an 8.4 mod this year. And we've had some good years. That's good.
Part of
Guys are
that-
staying safe.
Part of that payroll increase too is when we did our audit last year, we got hit with being higher in our payroll than what we had budgeted for. And that's because it also takes into account poll worker salaries. We had some fire department employees still from the first pay period that had to be on that too. So that's why we upped the salaries to make sure that when we had our audit, we wouldn't get hit with a penalty.
Thanks, Dan. That's it, other than, making a decision on the injunctive relief, which we've taken in the past, and the auto med pay.
Yeah, I'd recommend we still take the injunctive relief and reject the auto medical pay. And if I'm correct, the forms to sign are in the packet?
Yep. I've got them.
Okay.
Any question?
No, we debate those options at length each year, but I see no reason why we wouldn't continue on what we've decided in the past to
Yeah.
reject one and accept one.
The injunctive relief was a
It's a good one.
very expensive education.
Yes.
5, 6, 7 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yes.
Okay, any questions for Mike?
No, he does a good job explaining everything.
job.
So there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to accept the renewal of the 2023 property, vehicle, and liability coverages from Community Insurance Insurance Corporation with the rejection of the auto med payment endorsement and the acceptance of the injunctive release endorsement for the 2023-2024 policy year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Happy New Year, by the way. I'll sign it right now.
That's the rejection.
Aquarius down in the Bahamas.
Oh, I thought it was maybe something at the Dells.
No, no.
I don't know.
Other page.
And that's the rejection, or taken, injunctive.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Discussion and possible action on the recommendation from the Plan Commission for approval of a certified survey map to combine 2 lots into one at N26W30285 Maple Avenue. Stuart Kodovic and Melissa Krieger, applicant.
All
Tim.
right, as Chairman Troy stated, this is a combination lot. It's 2 lots of record along Maple Avenue that would need to be combined. Eventually, there's a house or a structure on that property that will probably be taken down and rebuilt on that property, and so they're trying to get ahead of it before they have to submit for a zoning permit from the county. My report indicates on there kind of a unique situation, which is Maple Avenue. If you look on your certified survey map, there's a substantial right-of-way that is adjacent to this particular property. However, the roadway itself, this is at a curve in Maple Avenue. The roadway itself is probably only a couple of feet off of this property line. And initially, during my review, I had discussed potentially asking for additional right-of-way onto this particular property as a dedication. However, at the meeting of the Plan Commission, we found out from the surveyor that actually when the road was rebuilt in 2000, that there was actually right-of-way that was purchased by the county at that time. And so they've already purchased some. So that right-of-way is larger than 66 feet. It's just that the road isn't centered in that, and probably never will be, because as you can see, there's an angle point in the road. And we just don't build roads with angle points on that. So the Plan Commission did not specifically follow my recommendation, but they did approve the certified survey map as presented, subject to any county and city comments, which I have not received yet or seen, and that was approved unanimously.
Any questions for Tim?
Seeing no questions, this is basically what we do around the lake. We have
Everybody's got
properties
2, and then we got to get them to 1, right?
line, we're just taking the dotted line out. So I will make a motion to approve the CSM dated December 15th, 2022, subject to the satisfaction of all outstanding review comments from the town, the city of Delafield. They have extraterritorial plat review, and Waukesha County Department of Parks and Land Use prior to the town executing the document.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the certified survey map. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The map is approved. 9C, discussion and possible action on a contract with AVI Systems to update and repair the town's AV equipment for a cost not to exceed $11,227.73. Dan, you want to give us a quick overview on this?
Yeah, sure. So our system has a malfunction that happened about 8 months ago, and we received this quote around 6 months ago to repair the controller. We have a wireless touchpad controller that basically controls the entire system, including the volume, turning it on and off, and other functions that we actually upgraded but are unable to use because of the system being broken, basically. So what this does is it repairs it. It gives us a new touch screen. It also takes a lot of engineering to rewrite a source code for the current equipment that we have, because the purchase of the equipment we made, that company no longer is in existence. So we did not obtain a source code when they went out of business in, I believe it was 5 years ago. The contract will allow us to obtain the source code on completion of the project. So if something were to happen, we would have that code, including if we wanted to just upgrade standard equipment. Typically, this isn't the case, and the company retains the source code so that they have control over repairs and things like that. So I think that's a win. So my recommendation is approval so we can use full access of the AV equipment we have. Currently, it's on all the time, and that will eventually run down. We can mute the mics, but it's hard to turn it off and turn on without it, without re-engaging everything. And so if we mess with it, we may not get it back. So this is crucial that we get this done. And they do have equipment ready for us to get working on this in the next 3 months. So if we want to do it, I think we should do it sooner than later, before we have a 6 month to a year wait time on this.
What is the turnaround time on them delivering the product?
They were able to find a remote in their storage warehouse, 3 months.
Okay. 'Cause
So-
I know that at one point they were out like 18 to 24 months, so
Yeah,
that's good news. And it looks like a majority of the cost is really the engineering and the programming of that source code?
Correct.
Okay. But once we do this, we'll be able to upgrade our virtual YouTube experience for individuals, being able to share documents on the screen and some of the other things that we've, so this is a good thing. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, this is an excellent thing, and we've been working on this for four or 5 months.
Yeah, if not longer.
And what we insisted on was they give us a source code. That was a major concession on their part. And we told them we'd go out to bid with others if they didn't. So getting the source code
That's key.
is really key.
Then we won't find ourselves in this situation again, right? We'll
Theoretically.
control the system,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
I
And-
will make a motion to approve the contract with AVI Systems, Inc. to update and repair the town's AV equipment for a cost not to exceed $11,227.73.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract with AVI Systems for costs not to exceed $11,227.73. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion possible action on adopting Resolution 23-660, a resolution for exceeding the state-imposed levy for the town of Delafield through a referendum on April 4th, 2023, to fund Lake Country Fire and Rescue's additional staffing. Dan, you want to walk through it?
Yeah, so in your packet is a resolution with blank dollar amounts that we can discuss tonight. I provided you, or I'm providing you now, a breakdown of the two options that were discussed by the board, and those dollar figures that we'd want to fill in. Depending on what the board approves tonight, we will change the language, whether it's funding, continuing to fund the 7 firefighters from 2023, or hiring an additional 7 firefighters for 24, which again is a decision up to the board. And I have a draft of what that resolution would look like, but for now I left it very generic for what happens at the discussion tonight. You can see the dollar figures that I provided for you, and I think I passed down my copy. So
I'll share with you.
awesome, thanks. So there's discussion about, what would be the cost be if we just decided to retain the 7 firefighters, and these are all based off of our current funding formula in the IMA. And you can see that number is at $260,011. And then the second amount would be to fully fund the 2014 ask as well, with the 7 additional hires in 2024, and that number's right around $470,000. And you can see the cost breakdown per house for a $250,000, $500 million house, and a $2 million house. So, as far as the background goes, I think you guys have all heard the background of this situation. So it's a board discussion, I think, from this point.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go maybe step by step? Ms. Miller, do you have any comments? Any thoughts?
I'd rather not start.
Okay, we'll start.
Down here?
How about Mr. Michaels? Okay, you go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about this for quite some time, you know, going back to the summer, that there's a crisis in our fire and EMS service. They don't have enough staff, the response times are trending in the wrong direction. We can sit here and we can, you know, say it's a nationwide problem, our neighbors have the same problem, or we can do something about it. And I think, the proposal in front of us this evening is to fund the 7 hires in the budget that we approved for '23, and then, so that we don't have to make the hard decision of laying them off or letting them go if this doesn't pass, hopefully. And then, hiring the additional 7 in '24. And it's my understanding that the hiring of the additional 7 in '24 is to maintain the revenues that we get for the intermunicipal or the interfacility transports, which is roughly $430,000. So I think this is a good plan to fund and hire 14 full-time fire department folks, fire EMS paramedics, and the cost, there's a cost, but it's minimal, I think, in the grand scheme of things, to keep this going. I think we need to fund the 14 folks, put it to referendum. That's what the rules state in the levy limits, and make sure that our partners educate folks, because I understand that as somebody who sits up here, I can't really have an opinion on it. It's just awareness, but as a private citizen.
I'll have an opinion on it.
Yeah, you can have an opinion, that's all good. I mean, I just go back to the presentation when we were, sold on joining Lake Country Fire and Rescue. I mean, then we joined because there was a nationwide decline in paid on call, but one of the benefits was we were gonna get, somebody in that station upstairs, four individuals, 24/7, 365. And unfortunately, that pool of cheap and free labor has dried up, and our response times are trending in the wrong direction, and there's a crisis. And, and because of this crisis, we, as one of the 7 community members of this consolidated fire department, need to do what we need to do to fund this, and that's to put it to referendum. I just want to make everybody aware that we pay attention to what our friends in the city are doing, and I recommend everybody go and rewatch their meeting from last Tuesday. So we're doing the right thing. Let's put it to referendum.
And you want to put the 460,
I wanna-
470?
Yeah, I would recommend that we put the 469,098.24.
I assume we
The
would round
470.
that.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay.
You want to go next, Mr.?
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to, I agree with what you just said there, Ed. Additionally, I think it's important to, that we are sticking with the 7+7, right? And asking for what the chief is asking for, right? I mean, they're the ones that are running this department, and they're the ones that have the best knowledge of where the industry's going, how they need to manage it, where they can make money, and where they can maintain and strengthen the department. So, I mean, I believe we should, and I think there's some clarity on that 469. I know at one point we were talking 535. I know there's some, the long and the short of it is I think we should be asking to referendum or taking to referendum what the chief and the department are asking for, and the 7 hires and maintaining the path to hire 7 more.
Okay. Mr. Michaels?
I will support a referendum for the $470,000 figure. We need funding for 7 positions so they're not laid off. We need 7 additional people to replace the part-time. And my message to the town is quite simply that if you are a fiscal conservative, then this is the referendum for you. The residents of the town should be incredibly proud that this is the only body of the 7 communities that will be going to referendum under a tax levy. You are going to maintain complete control over your taxes moving forward. If there is a need for another increase, you will have the ability to vote again. And if this referendum doesn't pass, I worry about what the consequences are towards our ability to go to referendum with the taxpayers and have you all weigh in and have control over the funding for the fire department. So that's my message to the town. I will tell anybody that wants to talk to me over the next few months why I intend to vote for this and why I support it tonight. So.
Okay, Ms. Miller, you don't have to.
No.
make a statement.
I do have an opinion about all this. I just have a question about, I guess the term to use here is the longevity of this plan. So based on what we just discussed, it would cover 2023, 2024. And what about 2025 and 2026?
No new hires after 2024, according to the proposal here, but the funding would be still in place to maintain them, and then theoretically, you'd go back to a CPI plus 2 cost increase at that time.
Right,
And
I mean-
Chief, if I'm wrong, you correct me. Yeah.
You know, part of what is,
Well, let's see if that answers your question. Does that,
No, it does. I guess I just feel a little uncomfortable about not being able to secure a plan for the Lake Country Fire Rescue for the next 3 to 4 years.
well, the plan is to hire, the proposal, discussion is to hire either 7 people or 14 people, and the inclination is to go for 14 over the next 2 years, and then provide continued funding for those 14 people indefinitely going forward.
So what if we don't have enough funds to sustain the operation?
But theoretically, we should, because it's a CPI plus 2 increase. If
So what if we run out of money again?
then you'd go back to referendum.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at why we're here on a lot of this stuff, right, is the shift in the marketplace that happened pretty rapidly. Mostly, toss it in if I'm wrong, but primarily around the change in the marketplace and employment, not only around COVID and what was going on with that, but also some of the Wisconsin, I believe, is the DOL regulation stuff as far as how you could pay internships and that kind of stuff, right? So, there is some rapid and large changes that were not foreseeable within the budget prior to this, right? Which is why we're here, or at this point. And in the prior meeting, I think we discussed that we don't know how long that'll continue, right? Hopefully not forever, but we don't know how long it would be to continue, and we can't necessarily guarantee that it's going to, what the change in the marketplace is going to go. Obviously, no one could have foreseen what happened in the prior 2 years. So this gets us what we're looking for, right? Maintain the 7, add the 7, okay? Then go back to CPI plus 2, and hopefully at that point, markets are going to cool off or stabilize or be wherever we are in a spot where you don't have to come back to referendum for years to come, right? But that's what we're ultimately up against, is unless we've got a crystal ball that can tell us where the employment market for full-time fire department and EMS people are coming from or going to, we can't possibly know that.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and, I mean, who says that we're even gonna be able to hire or find 14 qualified individuals to hire? I mean, everywhere I look and I see every fire department's got their, help wanted sign out looking there, and I know that some of this stems also from some of the career full-time departments in the area have waived that paramedic requirement. So, you know, in the past, we used to have some time where people would come and work for us for a while as they work towards that paramedic requirement, and then they would apply to other, you know, full-time departments. And that has really put a strain on trying to find qualified individuals. And I believe I read in the, you know, one of the newspaper articles recently from the chief quoting saying, you know, you know, people aren't showing to the recruit classes. You know, back when he was starting in the fire service, there were, you know, 200-300 people that would show to the recruit class, and there's just a handful of people that are willing to serve. So to your point, Supervisor Miller, you know, I think this is a good short-term interim solution. We need to make sure that we have, you know, the canary in the coal mine and stay abreast of this issue, and really, hopefully, we can get a referendum, get it passed, so that the chief can stop, you know, coming to these meetings and being a politician, and start really focusing on, you know, running his department and being the fire chief and helping, you know, keep his department running smoothly.
Okay.
Okay, my thoughts are, and it's not unusual for this discussion that I'm in the minority, but I cannot support a $470,000 increase to hire 14 people so far in advance. We don't even know what the impact of hiring the first 7 are. I'm in favor of the 7, the $260,000 to retain the 7 that we hired in 2023, but I'd like to see what impact those people have. And in all candor, and the chief and I have discussed this on several occasions, I don't have a lot of confidence in his numbers. His numbers continually change. He hasn't made a forecast he's presented to us yet, and it's just a moving target. So between not having confidence in the accuracy of the numbers, and I'll just give you one example. The number for 2024 assumes, and correct me, Chief, if I'm misspeaking here, that all 7 new hires in 2024 start on January 1st, 2024. And we know that's not going to happen. They're going to be phased in over time. So, and probably third, and most importantly, I don't think a $470,000 referendum is going to be approved by the voters. I just don't think the voters of this town are going to accept a $470,000 increase in their taxes. And then the town's going to be, this board's going to be in a position where we get nothing.
I just want you to be careful, though, when you say a $470,000 increase in their taxes, that it's an increase in the overall levy of the town. As Dan laid out, the impact on your taxes are, you know, a $250,000 house, it's additional $71 a year.
It increases the tax levy amount by
Right.
$470,000.
Correct.
That's what it does. Okay, let's not have any illusion. It increases the tax levy by $470. Just 4 years ago, we tried another levy increase, and it failed, overwhelmingly failed. So I just,
I mean, I guess,
I'd rather accept $260,000, because I think that has a higher probability of being passed, than accepting nothing.
I mean, and then we're in the same spot in a year. You know, I mean, the ultimate goal on this is to get to appropriate and national standard response times, right? And if it's going to take 14 people to get to the appropriate response times.
We don't know that.
Well, I mean, you're right.
We don't know that.
You're right. You could have 12 really great ones, or you could
Outside of
have
the fire
15,
department
maybe,
for 8 years have always changed. We just don't know that.
Sure. You know, there's a lot of things we don't know, where you don't know what's going to happen in the marketplace of people and who we're hiring is why we're here. You know, when you look at if you're talking about the difference of, right, obviously having 14 full-time employees, new full-time employees, is going to make a difference over 7. Do we know that it's exactly going to get us to an 8-minute standard that they're looking for? Yeah, right. Who knows? You can't exactly guarantee that, but it's a heck of a lot different than, you know, a 14 or 16-minute standard. And again, when you look at
We're not at 14 or 16 minutes.
We're
at
not.
tw- We're
We're
at
not.
12 minutes and we're turning.
We're trending in the wrong
And we're
direction.
trending in the wrong
Gentlemen,
direction.
I'm not here to convince you that
Sure.
the 260 is right. You all had the option of speaking your opinion.
Yep.
I had the option of speaking my opinion. Now the chair would call for a motion.
I will motion to, for the town to adopt resolution number 23660, a resolution for exceeding the state-imposed levy for the town of Delafield. And I would request that the, instruct the town administrator to input $470,000 into the resolution as the amount of the increase for the voters to consider.
Second.
Okay, just one clarification. Dan, is that a clear enough direction for you?
You said 470,000?
I said 470.
Yep.
And then you can work out the percentages and all that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's good enough. Okay, we have a motion and a second to.
But before you call for a vote, Mr. Chair, you said this is draft language in here?
This is,
Dan?
it's not the exact language. The exact language is going to be more specific.
Okay.
So I'll just read what the question will state. It says, under the state law, the increase in the levy of the town of Delafield for the tax to be imposed for the next fiscal year 2024 is limited to 1.314%, which results in a levy of $2,469,375. Shall the town of Delafield be allowed to exceed this limit and increase the levy for the next fiscal year 2024 for the purposes of retaining 7 full-time firefighter paramedics and to hire 7 additional full-time staff for the Lake Country Fire and Rescue Fire Consortium that services the town by the total of, and then we'll put in the numbers as far as the percentage increase, and then which results in a levy of, and then we'll have the total levy for an ongoing basis, including the increase of $470,000 for each fiscal year going forward.
That's the exact question, specifically for the firefighters. Okay, not for anything else.
Well, it says 7 new staff, correct? It does not say firefighters? 7 firefighters.
Seven additional full-time staff.
Because I believe the plan was to have 6 of those be firefighters
Correct.
and 1 of them be a mechanic.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that, I'd like to do a roll call vote.
Is the, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, is it better to say 6 additional firefighters? I worry that it says 7 staff.
Well, the DOR has already approved the wording.
All right.
Yeah, the DOR has
Fair enough.
approved the wording.
That's
I
fine.
mean,
That's fine.
But don't we have a summary statement or a summary question that we can put in an FAQ and other things that we can do?
Yeah, we can put an FAQ on the website. I'll get some information from the fire chief and put something on our website. We'll put it on our social media page and as best as we can to promote it.
Great. And there should be some sort of summary statement on the ballot, correct?
Correct.
And what language will we be using for that?
That is the summary statement.
That is it. You
Yeah.
just read it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Could we make sure that the awareness we're bringing into this referendum, all the information related to that referendum, can we make sure that the communication is as simple, as straightforward as possible, so the residents understand the impact?
Yeah, we'll have something
quality?
similar to what I provided as far as breaking down the cost per house. I can fix these numbers however way we want to, but yeah, it should be very comprehensive for folks.
Okay.
We can put all factual information on our website and publish all factual information. As elected officers of the town, we, however, cannot say, I encourage you to vote for this, or I encourage you to
Understand.
vote against this.
And we're not going to be sending a postcard or anything else because our attorney has told us we can't do anything like that.
Yes, he's rather myopic, and he likes to.
I believe I can tell anybody I like why I'm voting for this or why I intend to, correct?
As long as you clarify and state that as a private citizen.
Yeah, it has to be not supervisors, Michaels, it's, yeah. Okay,
It's
we have a
insurance
motion and a second, and if you, Dan, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Kranek,
Aye.
Supervisor Wolfley,
Aye.
Supervisor Michaels,
Aye.
Chairman Troy.
No.
Motion passed 4-0, or 4-1.
4-1. Okay, so And that'll be delivered to the state the 22nd, 23rd?
I'll get it to them on Thursday along with the county clerk.
That's great. Okay, moving on. Announcements and Planning Town Board is on Tuesday, January 24th, 6:30. Plan Commission is Tuesday, February 7th at 6:30. And Town Board again is on February 14th at 6:30. If there's no other discussion,
Mr. Chairman, do you need town board members for the 7th?
no.
No? Okay.
I have to move my Valentine's date.
Lucky her.
Bring her.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you all.
Thank you.